We are officially in the slow season of the year, which is notoriously known as quarter one. January, February, and March is when a lot of people tend to see a huge slowdown of their sales and lower sale volumes. Now, there are good things that come about this quarter and things that I prioritize, and I try not to look at my sale volumes because I know they're going to pick up once quarter two comes. And in fact, quarter two, which is April, May, and June, tend to be one of the peak seasons as far as sales go if you're designing for the correct niches. So in this video, you may be wondering, what are we doing on this channel today? And what we're doing is we are prepping for quarter two. This is my favorite part of the year because we have more time to work on our shop, build our businesses, lay that foundation of our shops with a lot of great listings that hopefully will sell during quarter two. So first of all, when we're thinking about quarter two, things I want you to think about is the big holidays and seasons we come into with quarter two. So one of those is Mother's Day. The second one is graduation season. And these two I primarily like to focus on. However, I will say that there are a lot of other niches that usually trend during these months as well. And even the months we're in right now. So January, February, March are time for people to take vacations to somewhere warm. So a lot of group vacation products tend to sell around this time of the year as well. And today I wanted to do a product focused tutorial on some of these niches that I have talked about. And throughout the next few months, you're going to see more tutorials. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to hop into this tutorial. So right now you may be wondering, what in the world should I create for? And one of my favorite niches to create for in January is actually outdoors and camping gifts, usually related to couples. That's what tends to trend in the next few months, especially as we head into spring and summertime where people are taking a lot more camping trips or road trips. With that being said, I'm going to hop onto my laptop and share my screen here, and we're going to go over the camping niche. So if I look up camping, I have the Everbee Chrome extension. So you'll see this little bee here, and this is showing how many monthly searches we are seeing as far as the camping niche goes. So camping gifts, camping signs, camping mug, camping ornament. As we can see, camping ornament doesn't really have any searches populating right now, but for camping mug, we have 641 monthly searches, camping gift, 1,573. So first I'm just going to look at camping gift. So besides that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on product analytics with the Everbee Chrome extension. So just so you know, you can get this Chrome extension for free. I do have the link in my description down below. So I'm just going to click on product analytics. This is my second favorite hack about this extension, which is clicking search entire database of listings just to populate what is really selling and trying to figure out what types of products that we could maybe recreate as far as print on demand goes. And there is a market need and demand for those products in this niche. So a lot of the camping items look to be knives and things that we really can't do with print on demand just yet, unless a print on demand company starts offering this in their catalogs. However, as I'm scrolling down the list, there is water bottles I'm seeing. That's an idea of a print on demand product we could create. There's personalized duffel bags I'm seeing as well. And then as I'm going down the list, I'm seeing unbreakable kids Christmas mugs. So what I'm really seeing is drinkware for this niche, which really makes sense because when we're thinking of camping, a lot of the times, a lot of people probably want a mug to bring with them on their camping trips. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up camping mug, which was one of the second higher search volume queries we saw initially. So when I'm looking at mugs, again, I'm going to go to product analytics. I am going to search entire database, and then I am going to tab for the highest total sale volumes. Oop, I just did that like 10 times. Don't mind me. By the way, you will notice that a lot of names are blurred out on this channel. I really try not to share or show the shops because there is a copycat culture on Etsy that I've been seeing since the beginning of me starting on Etsy with my own print on demand business, of people just copying the shops, and that is not the intention of doing this research. This is to see what is selling, where there is demand, what type of SEO these shops are ranking for, so we can get a feel of how we can craft a listing that's going to sell on repeat from knowing this information. As far as what's selling currently, I'm getting a feel for what really is selling on Etsy, and I can see there is a market need for this. We're seeing that one shop has made over 10,000 sales in its lifetime of this listing. This listing has been up for 42 months, but for a listing that's selling for $24 per sale and has had 10,000 orders, just to kind of crunch a estimated revenue. Again, these are all estimated numbers, but I want to give a feel for, let's say you posted a listing tomorrow, you kept it up for an example of a few years, and you ended up making 10,000 orders on that one listing. Just imagine that for a moment, because that has happened to a lot of people, where you post something or a design on a mug or a t-shirt, you don't know if it's going to sell, and then it ends up being a bestseller for multiple years in a row. I think that's just such an inspiring thing to look at, and that's why I like showing revenue and estimated profit on this channel. So if you sold 10,000 of these mugs, you're looking at over $200,000 in estimated revenue. So as far as expenses go, if this were a print-on-demand business, which I'm not saying this shop is, but if they were a print-on-demand business, production fees usually range from $7 to $12 per mug. So that's something to think about, is you're usually making 10 to 30% profit margins. So even at the lower end of that spectrum, this listing has made the seller over $20,000 of profit within its few years on Etsy. So if we were looking at the years, under 4 years, over $20,000 of profit, which could be up to $60,000 of profit with this one listing alone. And this is not the only listing that this seller has that's doing well in its shop. Besides that, we will move on to how to create a design in this niche. So I am going to go and create a new product in Kittl. I do have Kittl linked below in the description as well. This is one of my favorite print-on-demand softwares as far as designing goes. And for mugs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 5,000 by 5,000 dimension. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Printify. By the way, I do have a code in the description for 30 days of Printify Premium. It does change from month to month as far as the code goes. Just check the description to get that Printify Premium for free for 30 days. It does knock a few dollars off of the production fees, which can really add up over time and make you a lot more profit. So if we're going into the camping niche, what I want to go on first is Printify's catalog and look at the mugs that they have. So first of all, I'm going to search up mugs. And what I've noticed is that in the camping niche specifically, there is a lot of enamel cups, which are really great for camping. It's a lightweight item to put in your camping bag and bring with you on a camping trip. However, what I want to design for is a little bit different, and I'm really inspired by just seeing the insulated coffee mug, which I know a lot of people right away, it's like, okay, production fees are very high. How do we even price and compete in the market with a insulated coffee mug? Now, what I recommend is, first of all, knowing that you can price these higher because your customers see the higher value in having a coffee mug that has a lid and it's insulated, especially for a camping trip. A lot of these customers are willing to pay more for that. So I would price at minimum this type of product for $30. At minimum. Again, probably I'd do $29.99 as my sale price for a mug like this. And what I will look at first is the print area size. So it's 2,550 by 1125. Now, also I did want to note that you might notice an audio difference. My mic I accidentally dropped during this video today. And as you guys can see, it's unfortunately broken, and I made the mistake of not having a stand. I've been using, coincidentally, my mug. This has been my mug that I've had as a sample product for the past 2 years now on this channel, and I've used it as my Yeti microphone holder. But the problem is I've accidentally knocked it with my elbow multiple times. So RIP to our mic. Going back to our tutorial. So the print area size of insulated mugs is 2,550 by 1125. And I said that as if I am going to remember that. We will see how good my memory is. So we have 2,550 by 1125. I'm just going to double check that I have that right. Okay, we are good to go. I'm going to set DPI to 300 here, and we are going to create off of that. So now we have our mug dimensions in. So first of all, I want to say that with designing and personalization and custom items, what I personally like to do is be as simple as I can, because at the end of the day, we want this to relate to the customer. And if it's a design that has a lot of graphics thrown in and all of these other different fonts, maybe sometimes that can do the opposite and not attract the customer because they're not going to relate to that design. So I try to keep it simple, and I'm just going to create my own graphics with the elements in Kittl, and we're going to add in a personalization feature. So first of all, I'm just going to add in a headline here, and oops, that is not what I meant to do. I'm going to flip that back. So if you pull on the corner of a headline and you flip it below, you can flip it vertically on the artboard. So just so you know, that's what I just did. First of all, I'm going to add in just an example name. I think what I want to do is I'm going to add also a block shadow effect. I really like the vintage feel this is giving. As far as elements go, what I really like to use is a vintage sunset. I think that if I'm going with the vintage aesthetic, did I say that right? Aesthetic. Comment below. And then what I'm going to add in is maybe I'll add in some trees. So I'm going to look up some tree elements. We'll add in a few trees here. Since with mugs, this just prints as is. It's a sublimation design. So when they print on these mugs, it has a glossy finish. What's really nice about the insulated mugs is they have those acrylic lids. They're double walled. So now I'm pretty good with what we have here as far as our design goes. I think it's really cute and it's really unique. What I am going to do is I am going to bring this all the way front, and I really don't care for this last line of this sunset, so I'm going to add in a square or rectangle to cover it. And what's really nice, if I select all of these, then I can change the color. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in just a grunge texture to this. I think this just makes it look really neat, especially for a printed mug. I'm going to download this as is. I'm going to remove background, optimize quality, and then I'm going to download as a PNG. Then I'm going to click continue here. Once this downloads, I am going to upload to our mug. So I'm going to click on start designing, and then I'm going to drag this over to our new mug. This is something to note too, is a lot of customers do want this double-sided. So if we wanted to make this double-sided, I'll hit the duplicate button and then we can just drag. So what you want to do is sometimes you do want it like right smack dab in the middle. You do want this red line to appear to make sure everything is aligned vertically. And what I will do is I'm going to move this to as much as midline as we can get. There is this white line that goes down the mug, and you want the center of your graphic to fall between this. It's okay if it doesn't fall perfectly, but you want it as close to that line as you can get it. So I'm just nudging this a little bit more to the edges, making sure that that horizontal red line is still there. But besides that, this is how our mug looks. This is the finished product. I'm just going to also show the realistic CMYK version of this, so just so you guys can get a feel for how this mug looks. So that is so cute. Oh my gosh, I'm going to pull this up too. This is an adorable mug. Oh my goodness. I am so happy with how this came out. So this is our final piece, which is the personalization mug that has just that vintage feel. You can do this without that grunge layer too. I do want to note that because I know some customers this might be a little bit too much for. But besides that, as far as finalizing this product, what I would do for pricing is I do want to edit the price to $29.99. So we're going to apply that just for a retail price. So we can add that in on pricing. And then I'm going to view this on Etsy just for the end here. And then from there, I can go to Etsy. And if I go to my listings on Etsy, that insulated coffee mug would appear. So as far as SEO, what I was talking about earlier is I would probably put camping anniversary gift for couple. I would keep insulated coffee mug because that's describing our product. And then as far as different SEO to put, I would be looking at what other SEO is really ranking. So engagement gifts, there is rustic, newly engaged. So I would put engagement gifts, rustic, outdoors. I would put hiking gift or hiking lover gift, personalized, custom. So those are essentially the SEO I would use for this type of product. That's pretty much how I would do an SEO for this listing, just so we're targeting anniversary, we're targeting camping, outdoors. Going down the list as far as this listing goes, what I am going to do is I am also going to turn on personalization. So when you turn on personalization, you do want to put just a maybe enter names of couple and maximum of 24 characters. Usually I do 12 characters per name. So if we have two names, usually 24 to 25 characters. This is completely up to you. And also just checking out your template that you created, even counting how many characters. So for this, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 characters within that. But let's say you have two really long names that you wanted to add in. You could do up to 20 to 24 characters. So maybe 24 was a little bit too generous. I would do maybe 20 characters. But if you have a couple named together, then that might be something to consider when you write how many characters you want to add to this personalization. But besides that, I'm going to publish this. And as we can see, we now have our finalized listing with really great SEO for this listing. I would use one of the auto-generated mockups that we get from Printify. So personally, I would use this one or this one. I think these are very beautiful mockups. They're very aesthetically pleasing and give that vintage rustic feel. So I would highly recommend those. Besides that, guys, that is it for our tutorial today. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video here. This is my ex. So with it does knock a few dollars. I hope my mic's still working.